Trent Harvey, I got that work, now rock out.
Yes, this is a throwback. This is from All Star 2007 that was actually in DC. And of course, this is Elena Beard, my second favorite player of all time. And this one is actually autographed as well. So it's one of my few jerseys that are actually signed. And I actually have quite a few things from that. I still got the headband, All Star 2007, DC. And I still actually have my ticket from all the festivities. So I've been keeping keepsakes for a long time. So I'm gonna need them to have an All-Star game on the East Coast again in the next couple years. Because the last few years it's definitely been Midwest, West Coast. So we gotta bring it back to the East Coast soon. Whether it's DC, New York, those are the two best options. Most people don't like to go to the one in Connecticut because the Connecticut arena is literally in the middle of nowhere. But DC or New York, I'm down with either one of those because I can figure out a way to get to New York. I can figure out a way to get to New York. But yes, it is All-Star Weekend. Also, if you guys are interested in kind of a little bit of behind the scenes and some of the more funny WNBA players, two of them, Letitia Heidemann and Courtney Williams from Minnesota, are live streaming the entire weekend in Indiana on Twitch. Their Twitch channel is called Stud Buds. So they've been on since yesterday. They're still going, and they're going to be showing all kind of stuff. So tonight we have the 3-point contest and the skills contest. But yeah, they are hilarious, and if you just jump in and out and see what they're up to and see what activities they show up to. But yeah, so they definitely have their channel, Stud Buds, here on Twitch, and they will be on all weekend long. So you guys can get a glimpse of the in-between events, the events, and all the players have been kind of dropping in and chatting. So definitely if you're have some time or you just want to get a couple of laughs, definitely tune in, because welcome home with Lady Blue Flames. We are episode 15, ready to rock and roll. We are halfway through the WNBA season. All-Star Weekend is this weekend, and we will go over kind of the history of All-Star Weekend and how it's changed over the years as well. And I am rocking the All-Star jersey from 2007, which was in DC, where I'm from, and it is autographed by Elena Beard. You can see the silver on the 0. She's one of my favorite players. But yeah, this is the one from 2007, which was in DC. As you can see, it was different brands at the time as well. This is Adidas. But it was a nice jersey, and my favorite player. We was at home, so I had to cop something. But we will discuss where teams are at the halfway point, and then I will update you guys on any replacements and changes in players this All-Star weekend, because there was quite a few injuries and people not able to go this weekend. So we will get to that as well. So, as a reminder, let's see. Actually, before we get to the All Star rosters, let's just cover the standings going into All Star weekend. The standings. Standings. All right. So halfway through the season, in the number 1 spot, we got Minnesota with a record of 20-4. At the number 2 spot, we got the New York Liberty with a record of 15-6. In the 3 spot, we got Phoenix with a record of 15-7. In the 4th spot, we got Seattle with a record of 14-9. In the 5th spot, Atlanta with a record of 13-9. In the 6th spot, Indiana with a record of 12-11. In the 7th spot, Washington Mystics with a record of 11-11. In the 8th spot, the Las Vegas Aces with the same record of 11-11. 9th spot, Golden State Valkyries, 10-12. In the 10th spot, the Sparks, 8-14. In the 11th spot, Chicago Sky at 7-15. 12th spot, Dallas, 6-17. And 13th spot, Connecticut, 3-19. Now, looking at the standings, the top teams aren't really a surprise. Minnesota and New York being the top 2. And then kind of right in that middle, we got Phoenix, Seattle, Atlanta, Indiana. And then you got another chunk, which is Washington, the Aces, Golden State. They're really close in record. And then we got the bottom, which is LA, Chicago, Dallas, and Connecticut. Now, one of the good surprises is definitely Golden State Valkyries. Because them being the new franchise, like, they have been super competitive every game. Now, they're sitting at the 9th spot right now. And that's good as a new franchise in the league. Because they have been fighting and battling everybody. Even their losses, they were close. And so, they're already ahead of the gates when it comes to a franchise team. Another surprise for me was definitely Dallas. I didn't foresee them being this far down the standings. Even though Paige is a rookie, I definitely thought that they were going to play better. And there's a lot of factors into why it hasn't been panning out with injuries and different people constantly being out. The lineups have changed multiple times. So I feel like they really haven't been able to develop chemistry. Now, they have some really good players on their roster, but they really haven't really developed the chemistry as I thought they would. Like, I thought it was going to take them a week or 2, maybe 3, but I definitely didn't see them being this far down the standings halfway through the season. Will they pick up? Just based on how they've been playing, I'm not so sure. So, there's a good chance that Connecticut, Dallas, Chicago, LA could miss out on the playoffs. Some other things will have to happen for them to, like, really move up, just because they are a bit further behind than the rest of the people in the standings. I feel like 4 through 9 has the most potential of flip-flopping. And I think the battle for that 7th and 8th spot is probably going to come down literally to the last game of the season, because all those teams are so close. You got Indiana at 12-11, Washington 11-11, Aces 11-11, Golden State 10-12. Like, all those are really close. And so if any one of them goes on a run, good or bad, all those can interchange again. So I think right now we're looking at about 9 of the 13 teams in the running for the playoffs. For like the rest at the very bottom have kind of record wise taken them out unless they just go on a crazy run this second half. But that's kind of where I am as far as like people still having a chance to put themselves in positions to at least make the playoffs. And there's a few teams that kind of have already kind of knocked themselves out of position in my opinion. All right, then we got now we got leaders and points. Nafisa Collier is still number 1, averaging 23.2 points. Asia Wilson at number 2, averaging 22.3. Kelsey Plum in the 3rd spot, averaging 20.1. Brianna Stewart in the 4th spot, averaging 19.7. Kelsey Mitchell in the 5th spot, averaging 19.1. In rebounds, we got Angel Reese in the number 1 spot, averaging 12.6. Asia Wilson, the 2nd spot, averaging 9.2. At the 3 spot, Azrae Stevens, 8.7. Kiki in the 4th spot, averaging 8.5. And Brianna Jones in the 5th spot, averaging 7.8. Assist leaders, Alyssa Thomas is at the number 1 spot, averaging 9.5. From the forward position, our top assist averager in the league is from the forward position, y'all. At number 2, we got Courtney Williams averaging 6. At her and Natasha Cloud are in the 2nd spot, averaging 6. And then Kelsey Plum and Skylar Diggins both average 5.8. But if I'm a guard, I'm looking at that like we need to do something about that. Because that's great for Alyssa Thomas, but we got a lot of great guards in this league, and they not even close. Like, she's sitting at 9.5, and the next closest is 6. Like, that's wild to me. Like, kudos to Alyssa Thomas, because she balls, and she does her thing. But if I'm considering myself as an elite, especially an elite point guard in this league, I'm not okay with that. But, I don't know if anybody can do anything to catch up this season, but they need to be looking at themselves like we should be averaging more than this. Alright, and then blocks, we got Asia Wilson at the number 1 spot, averaging 2.4 blocks. At the number 2 spot, Alana Smith, averaging 2.2. 3rd spot, Ezzie McElvore, averaging 2. The 4th spot, Nafisa Collier, averaging 1.6. 5th spot, Brianna Stewart, averaging 1.4. Okay. And those are the tops for those. Also gonna give like my updates on kind of who's in the running for different awards. And I think for my MVP race is about the same. You got Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collier, Alyssa Thomas, and I will throw Alicia Gray in there because she's been hooping and she's been averaging a lot. So I think for me, those are the top 4 for MVP right now. Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collier, Alyssa Thomas, and Alicia Gray. They've been the most consistent staying at the top of the board. There's been some people that have been up and down and had some really good games and had some bad games. So that's my 4 in the running for MVP. Rookie of the Year, we got Paige, we got Sonia Citron, Kiki. Those are my top 3. And I think Paige has had the best, like, well-rounded as far as the numbers. All 3 rookies are playing really well for their teams. And so I'm not sure what it's truly going to come down to for the voters when they vote for them. But that's my top 3 for Rookie of the Year. And the 3 rookies that have been the most consistent to me. I love Pow Pow. She's a fun rookie, but she hasn't been as consistent. She's had a few games here and there, but she hasn't been as consistent, which is why she's not really at the top of my list for winning Rookie of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, my vote is definitely going to Gabby Williams for Seattle. Gabby Williams is an elite defender. Blocks, steals, and just a defender in general. A lot of guards probably do not like to face up against her. She's a really good defender, physical defender. So she's definitely at the top of running for Defensive Player of the Year for me. If we go off kind of blocks, Asia Wilson is in that running again. She's an elite defender, and so is Collier. So pretty sure those are the top three in the running right now. Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collier, and Gabby Williams. And I'm pulling for Gabby Williams because as much as it's nice when somebody's consistently winning something, I also like to see someone different every couple years to win. And so I think the last couple years it has definitely been like a big. So I would love to see someone like Gabby Williams actually win Defensive Player of the Year. But that's my update and take on some of the awards that'll be going out, and then kind of where teams are as far as possibly making the playoffs or not. That's where I am. But it's been a fun season. First half has been a lot of fun. A lot of teams have been very inconsistent, and so that's why I say there's still like 9 or 10 teams that could make the playoffs. So it's going to be, unless somebody just comes out of All-Star break and goes on a tear, I feel like it's going to flip-flop for the next couple weeks, back and forth. And I think we won't really know, especially that 6, 7, and 8 spot, we probably won't know that until like the last week of the season, because a lot of those teams are really close in record, and most of those teams have been the teams that have been up and down and been streaky. Look good sometimes, and in other games you're like, who is this team? So it's going to be tricky. Somebody's going to have to go on a run at the right time to get into the playoffs. So it's going to be an interesting race. I'm for it. I love things being interesting and not knowing exactly who's going to be there. So I think it's going to be a fun second half. All right, moving on to All Star. So, little history for All Star Weekend. The first 2 seasons of the league, there was no All Star game. So, All Star game did not come about until 1999. So, 97 and 98, we didn't have an All Star game. And from 1999 until 2017, we did East versus the West. That's how the All-Star game was broken up, and that's how the playoffs were broken up at the time, East versus West. So from 1999 until 2015, we did East versus West. And a lot of people won't know that. A lot of newer fans coming in never saw that format. So there was a good run of just East versus West teams in the W when it came to All-Star game. And I was writing all this out, and I was looking like, there's been a lot of All-Star games in Connecticut. They've had it 1, 2, 3. They've had the All-Star game 4 times. I think that's the most out of any location. New York might be tied with them. New York has had it 1, 2, 3. New York has only had it 3 times. I think Vegas has had it twice. Back in 2001, it was actually in Orlando. Vegas had it twice. They don't need it again. Washington has had it twice. We had it in 2002 and 2007. And then in 2011, it was in San Antonio. And in 2017, it was in Seattle. I was just surprised to see how many times it was in Connecticut. But they've always been great games. And then, let's see, 2018 was the first year that they started having the top 2 players be team captains and pick their teams. And then 2020 was the only one of the few years we didn't have one, but that was because of COVID. So 2020, there was no All Star game. They were in the bubble, so they didn't do all of that. But, and then usually around Olympics time, they do the last 2 Olympics. They've done Team WNBA versus Team USA. And so we've had a couple different variations to the All Star game since they've implemented it. Also, I'll probably say like the first, I can't say which year for sure, but around 2005, 2006 is when they added the 3-point and the skills. Because before that, it was literally just the All-Star game. On a Sunday, they would do the All-Star game. There was no 3-point, there was no skills challenge. It wasn't generally a full weekend of activities. It was literally all that one day. They would show up early, have some events, then have the game that afternoon. So from like 99 to like 2005, it was literally just the All-Star game. All the other stuff wasn't involved. And then the first one that I could find that had a 3-point was the 2007 one that was in DC. But I can't say for sure. It may have started the year before, but 2007 was the first one that I could see that had the 3-point and the skills challenge in it. And so over the years, it's evolved more into an actual like All-Star weekend and not just like a day with a game and a few like meet and greets and stuff like that. But so our All-Star game has evolved to an All-Star weekend, and I can tell you like it's a huge difference now compared to the one that was in DC in 2007. When I went, like there were more events. I definitely got a ton of autographs and met a lot of players and had a ball. But when we went to Phoenix last year, I mean, the amount of vendors and the amount of activities for 3 days, and I'm pretty sure there were tons that I didn't even make it to. Like, we went to a lot of stuff, but I'm pretty sure there's stuff that we didn't even get to because there was so much going on across the city where the event was happening. So the All-Star Weekend has definitely evolved, and a lot more people are involved, a lot more companies are involved, a lot more sponsorships, a lot more giveaways, a lot more activities. And so I think we've got to a really good place when it comes to our All-Star Weekend and people actually enjoying them and having fun and feeling like they were involved and were there and they get something out of it. Being in Phoenix last summer for All-Star Weekend was a blast. Every single day, like, was so much fun. And hopefully we get back to the East Coast the next few years, and hopefully I can get to another one in the next few years, because it was definitely a great experience. And if you get a chance, even if you can only go to a few things, you definitely to check out an All-Star Weekend because they are fun. Alright. So, 2025 WNBA All Star Game is currently in Indiana right now. A lot of players got there last night, Thursday, and they did their, orange carpet walk and introductions and interviews. We'll look at a few highlights later. But the roster for All-Star Weekend, we got Team Collier, Team Clark. Team Collier is Nafisa Collier, Stewie, Alicia Gray, Nneka, Paige, Courtney Williams, Skylar Diggins, Angel Reese, Alyssa Thomas, Kelsey Plum, Ryan Howard. Team Clark, you got Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Sabrina Nescu, Asia Wilson, Satu Sabali, Kelsey Plum, Gabby Williams, Sonia Citron, Kiki Arifin, Jackie Young, and Kayla Thornton. Now, there's been a few changes due to injuries. So, from Team Collier, Ryan Howard is out. So, Kayla McBride has been added in for that team. And on Team Clark, Satu Sabali and Caitlin Clark are out due to injury. So, Brittany Sykes got put in. Shoot, and I just had a brain fart for who the second person was. I just really had a brain fart. It's an Atlanta Dream player. Actually, go to Atlanta Dream. Brianna Jones. There we go. I had a complete fart. But yeah, so Brianna Jones is a replacement, and so is Brittany Sykes. They haven't announced, because there's 2 starters on that team, they haven't announced who's actually going to be the 2 new starters as of yet. I'm pretty sure some of the people that were already reserves will probably start, and not the people who just got named as replacements. But again, Brittany Sykes and Brianna Jones are replacements for Team Clark. Now, the All Star game is not until Saturday. Friday, you have the skills challenge and the 3-point contest. Okay. I know I saved those. Alright, so, and the skills challenge tonight, which will be on ESPN, is Natasha Cloud, Alicia Gray, Erica Wheeler, Skylar Diggins, and Courtney Williams. That's the skills challenge participants. Three-point contest, we got Sonia Citron, Caitlin Clark, Alicia Gray, Sabrina Nescu, and Kelsey Plum. Now, Clark has pulled from everything, so they replaced her with her teammate Lexi Hole. So, instead of Caitlin Clark, Lexi Hole will be in the 3-point contest. And y'all already know, the Mystics rookie in there, so I'm rooting for the Mystics rookie. Hopefully she does well. Also, Alicia Gray won last year, so she's the reigning champ. And we'll see if she's able to repeat. She won the skills challenge and a 3-point last year, so I think she's the favorite to repeat, but we'll see. I think it's going to be very, very interesting, considering who's in the competition. So if you have ESPN, make sure you tune in Friday night, 8 o'clock, and catch. You know there's going to be some shenanigans, so definitely if you got ESPN, tune in. I think it's going to be funny and hilarious, because the players are always messing with each other, and they're very competitive. Last thing before we recap is the book of the month, which the book for July, again, is Misty, from Misty Made Trainer. one of the greatest volleyball players in the history of indoor and beach volleyball. Which I know her from beach volleyball and the Olympics, and then learning her story and how great she was at the high school and collegiate level in indoor volleyball, like, it's crazy. But I think I might actually have two little excerpts today. Let's see what I want. And she's played against some great athletes across sports. Like I said, she definitely was a multi-sport athlete growing up. Okay, I did that one last episode. Let me do the collegiate one. Okay, so she went to Long Beach State for college, and she was on the indoor volleyball team. And she talks about having to switch positions for her, like, long-term goals and what she wanted to do. She was gonna have to switch up her main position. But she also thanks her dad, because her dad made sure she learned every position in volleyball. And I think people don't do that as much anymore, so that your athlete can be a little bit more well-rounded. And then also, when you play a team sport, you can't predict, like, an injury happened on your team and maybe having to play a different position because of an injury or anything like that. So there could be various reasons why you will end up having to play another position. And she thanks her dad for making her learn all the positions in volleyball, because it made that switch where she was known as a hitter, and she eventually had to learn how to become a setter, because as she moved up in the ranks, she no longer was like the tallest, but she was still tall, just not the tallest in her sport anymore. And she says, I'm glad I was a hitter before I was a setter, because I was better able to adjust the set to a hitter depending on the situation. I also anticipated hitters' mistakes and knew how best to motivate them. As a hitter, I knew where the set should be. I knew their timing. And beyond all of that, once a hitter, always a hitter. I was a huge threat from the setter position. My teammates could set me, forcing opponents to defend 3 hitters. And I don't know that much about all the positions in volleyball, but making yourself, and when you're on a team sport, when you make yourself a threat that another team has to counter, that almost always benefits your team in some way. And so if you face a team and you think, oh, I only got to worry about these 2 people being like the dominant hitters or the dominant this, and then that teammate pops up and becomes a threat as well, now that team has to factor that in and adjust how they play, and so on, so on, so on. So I thought it was pretty cool that she had that mindset of adjusting and adding to her game and doing something that would benefit everybody on her team and not just her, so that they can ultimately win the NCAA championship her senior year. Now, they went through their ups and downs her freshman and sophomore year, but her junior and senior year, all of that from that journey started to come together, and they ultimately won her senior year, winning that NCAA championship that was their goal since her freshman year, before that, before she even got to college, she had already known like that was her goal. She wanted to win the NCAA championship in volleyball. So it's pretty cool to see her adaptability as an athlete to do something that would benefit her and her team in the long run, and going through the process of the ups and downs and things not working the way they should or so and so, because those first 2 years, those were the adjustment period of her playing another position and still trying to be a dominant player. So it's pretty cool to see that adaptability as an athlete over the years, and then across the different levels of the game, from high school to collegiate, and then eventually into her beach volleyball days in the Olympics. And so I feel like adaptability is one of those things that can't really be taught, but it's something that you want your athletes to have. And there's always going to be ups and downs when you are adaptable, because there's a learning curve to everything within the sport. Even if you switch sports or you change positions, you change teams, like that adaptability, I think, is underrated, but a great thing for an athlete to have. So it was pretty cool to read her journey through her college years, trying to adapt to primarily playing a different position that she's played majority of her volleyball career, but going through the ups and downs and ultimately succeeding and leading her team to an NCAA championship. So that is my excerpt from Missy being adaptable for the betterment of a team and a team goal. I think is pretty huge and a testament to who she is and why she got to where she got to, eventually making the Olympics and winning gold medals and breaking records and all that. So it's definitely a good little portion to read, and just reading the experience is a lot of fun. So the adaptability of an athlete. But that is the book for the month of July. Missy May Trainer, great volleyball player, indoor volleyball and beach volleyball. Alright, so recap today's episode. We just talked about the WNBA, the evolution of the WNBA All Star game into an All Star weekend and actual festivities. The first All Star game being back in 1999. Originally, it was literally just one game on a Sunday, and use these activities before the game, but it was literally everything was on that one day. And eventually, at first it was East versus West, and eventually it became the top two vote getters becoming captains and picking their teams, almost like a draft, as well as there being the 3-point contest and the skills challenge the day before the All-Star game. So, and as I said, I've been to 2 variations of the All-Star weekend. I went to the one 2007. It was in Washington, D.C. It was a lot of fun. They did have the 3-point and the skills, but going to the All-Star game in Phoenix last year, 2024, the magnitude of vendors and brands that were there were not present in 2007. It just weren't. We weren't on such a large scale at that point. But going to All-Star Weekend in Phoenix in 2024, like, just shows the growth and the excitement around the women's game. It was so many vendors there, so many companies, so many players, so many brands, and so many events, and just tons of stuff for everybody to do the entire weekend. So the All-Star Weekend has definitely evolved to a great weekend of just fun, appreciating the game, appreciating the All-Stars, and just showing them love. The brand showing love, doing a lot of giveaways and a lot of activities. And so I think we're on a great path when it comes to All-Star Weekend. There's been a couple replacements, as we talked about, due to injuries. So Caitlin Clark is not able to participate in the 3-point contest or the game. So in the 3-point contest, Lexi Hall is replacing her with the other contestants. And then in the All Star game, Brittany Sykes and Brianna Jones got added to Team Clark. They have not announced who the new starters will be, since Clark and Satu Sabali are starters on that team and they can't play. Everybody's practicing today, so I'm pretty sure after today's practice, they'll probably figure out who's actually going to start for Team Caitlin Clark. I know the 3-point contest and the skills challenge is going to be on ESPN Friday night. So if you have ESPN, definitely tune in. It should be a lot of fun. The actual All-Star game is Saturday. I don't remember what time exactly. Let me see. Games. So the game will be Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. So the game will be on ABC. The skills challenge and 3-point contest is on ESPN. So if you have any of those networks, definitely tune in. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The players are competitive, but they also like to enjoy themselves. So I think they'll be very entertaining. So definitely tune in to any of those events. Also, as I said at the beginning, 2 of the players are live streaming on Twitch on their channel called Stud Buds. It's definitely been hilarious. So if you're looking for some lives, definitely tune in on Twitch to Stud Buds to see behind the scenes of All-Star Weekend. One of them is in a couple of the events. The other one is just kind of showing you guys behind the scenes. They had a blast last night going to a couple of the parties. So definitely tune in and check them out. They're definitely having a good time. But that is the recap for today's episode. All-Star Weekend is always a lot of fun for players and for fans. If you ever get a chance to go to one, definitely go. It's a lot of fun, a great experience. Hopefully it'll be back on the East Coast in the next couple years, and I would love to go to another one live and in person. So we'll see where they go in 2026 and 2027. Hopefully somewhere on the East Coast and somewhere good. So, but that is All-Star Weekend in a nutshell. Tune in if you can. Can't catch some highlights, dropping on a few of these players' channels. They're all doing stuff, so definitely tune in. Alright. And as always, the goal of Welcome Home is to educate, appreciate, promote, and support women's sports. The goal of Welcome Home is to educate, appreciate, promote, and support women's sports. Welcome home. I've told you, I don't know if I told Stream, but my closet is probably half WNBA jerseys, as opposed most people's closets probably actually have clothes in it. My closet right now is at least 50, maybe 60% WNBA jerseys, not including the ones that's on the wall. Like, I got all of them hanging up in the closet. All kind of jerseys. Yeah, if you open up my closet, you'd be like, where's your clothes, ma'am? Where are your clothes? Because it's either jerseys or, and probably like 15% of it is like hoodies. And most of my hoodies are women's sports related, whether it was from college, whether it's from WNBA. So yeah.